What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my analysis of the new Legendary unit in Legendary Guinevere and her banners. So Legendary Guinevere is a new water Legendary unit that can boost up your defense and is also a pair up Legendary unit, and she's a colorless infantry mage. Definitely did not expect to see her, but she was always a Legendary candidate, I thought. So she has got Radiant Aureola as her preferred weapon, which gives her minus on special cooldown, and it also is effective on the magical units or mages. So it kinda is reminiscent of the original weapon of Guinevere. And then she has got true damage based on 20% of her resistance, and also gets flat damage reduction on 20% of her resistance as well. So it's kind of similar to Asker in a way, where he gets 20% true damage based on his defense and also gets the flat damage reduction or true damage reduction based on his defense. So this is not pierceable by Deadeye, Lethality, or any of those specials, so that is really good for tanking. And she can also get +5 to all of her stats and also inflicts guard on the opponent in the combat. And finally, she can also disable the adaptive damage, which means that she can easily take on the dragon units, even though she cannot really retaliate back to them. So yeah, disabling adaptive damage is always going to be helpful for facing those kinds of dragons, especially in the player phase. And then she has got Iceberg, Speed Resistance Finish 4, and a new tier 4 skill in Null Counter Disrupt 4. So yeah, this was kind of overdue at this point after we saw the tier 4 versions of Null Follow-Up. So this inflicts -4 attack and speed debuff on the foe in the combat, and it does have the Null Counter Disrupt effect, where you're able to retaliate back to the Fire Sweep or the Sweep weapons or Dazzling Staff, weapons of that nature, and then reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30%. So not a lot of units would want this because slot B is really competitive, but still, this could be run on ranged tanks like Duo Asker for example, or could even be run on the new Fallen Female Pilot or Brave Marth when he gets his weapon refined. So Null Counter Disrupt could be a good skill for those units so that they can just take on, stuff like Cav lines or the units with sweep effects. So that is always going to be helpful, especially in something like Ether Raids, and even in Arena it is going to be helpful when we have stuff like Legendary Hinoka for example, who can be really annoying. So Null Counter Disrupt is going to be niche skill, but still is going to be useful. And then she's got her Slot C skill in Burns New Way, which heals up 7 HP to allies after her combat in 3 spaces. So again, kind of reminiscent of Guinevere, the original version, and then she can get +5 to all of her stats, and also get special charges on both enemies' attacks and her own attacks. This means that she can retaliate back with Icebergs, which are going to be doing a lot of damage with her high resistance. And then finally, she can heal up 7 HP to herself after the combat. So yeah, this skill is definitely pretty good for healing up Guinevere, and it does stack up with the healing that you get from the finish skill. So basically you have the in-combat healing and then the after combat healing with Burns New Way, and then you can also heal up the allies within 3 spaces. So if you run Guinevere with like a near safe tank, then that near safe tank is also going to be able to have some kind of self-sustain, which is really good for something like Ether Raid's offense, where I think that Guinevere is definitely going to be pretty helpful. So that is Guinevere's base kit, and overall she's going to be functioning as a pretty nice range tank with her high resistance and with this kind of flat damage reduction. Overall she is good, but I don't really think that she is the most bonkers Legendary unit that we have seen. I think that Legendary Hinoka is easily even more insane than her that we recently got. So Guinevere is pretty solid as a Legendary unit, but not really too insane. But that flat damage reduction and being able to function as a good range tank is definitely going to be helping her quite a lot. And she doesn't really have any kind of null follow-up in her kit or even in her weapon, so you probably need to provide her with null follow-up as a status, or at least run that as a sacred seal so that she doesn't really get auto doubled. And I don't really think that she's going to be the fastest because she was not really able to double through Seer in the trailer itself. So that's why I do think that she's probably not going to be the fastest mage out there, but she's definitely going to be hitting hard with the effective damage against mages and also having high resistance and that flat damage reduction. And she doesn't really provide any kind of support like Legendary Hinoka does, for example, with her Rallying Cry. So she is a bit of a selfish unit in that regard, where she's mainly going to be focusing on her own combat and taking on the range threats and pretty much doing her job. So that is Guinevere right there. And for her skills, you can definitely try and run some other skills like Lacey's, for example, with Special Spiral 4 or Ruptured Sky even as a 1 cooldown special. So even if you're facing a guard opponent, you're still going to be able to trigger your special and retaliate back with it. Speed Resistance Finish 4 is the perfect slot A skill that she comes with, but Attack-Rest Unity can also be run, especially if you run her with Legendary Male Robin. For her slot B, there are definitely a couple of options. Null Counter Disrupt is a good skill for her slot B, but you can always run null follow-up or magical null follow-up that we have seen on Haether. So that way she's going to be able to cut through the damage reduction by half. And if you completely want to neutralize the damage reduction, then Special Spiral 4 is always going to be an option. And you always want to run her Slotsy skill, and for her Sacred Seal, anything that can boost up her attack, resistance, or speed is going to be a good skill that you can run on her. And null follow-up Sacred Seal is also going to be an option if you can only outsource it to her. Her main fodder is definitely going to be Null Counter Disrupt, and like I mentioned before, there are a couple of units that can run this and function as a good tank against a lot of cav lines, where this is mainly going to be useful in my opinion. So her fodder is good, but again, not the most insane. Pretty much like Guinevere, like she's good, but not the most insane unit ever. That doesn't really mean that she's not solid. She's definitely a good unit that you can try and summon, but overall, a lot of people are going to be having priorities in some other banners or for the summer or for Choose or Legends that's coming up in August. So cannot really blame them for that. And now let's move on to my water tier list and see where Guinevere ranks. So in tier 1, I would definitely have Legendary Ninian, and she belongs in her own tier because Legendary Ninian is the queen of the water season. Not only she's a 2-action dancer, but she's also really good as a cavalry dragon dancer who also scores really high in arena. So she's this excellent unit, honestly, and can be used for any kind of game mode. So that's why I've got tier 1 with Legendary Ninian. And then I would put Legendary Guinevere in tier 2. So I don't really think that she's going to be in tier 1 per se, and she is a good nuke and she can function as a good magical ranged tank, but that's pretty much all it is. She's really not going to be giving you support like Ninian, for example. Tier 2 is definitely not that bad for a new legendary unit though. And then we have got Legendary Chrom, who has still stuck in tier 2 in my opinion because of his 2-change fate, which is still really useful in arena, and he's going to be getting a remix and refine next month, so he's going to be getting even better. Because even with this remix and refine and all of the new things that we have got, 2-change fate is just really good. And with this remix and refine, he's just going to be getting better. And then we have got Legendary Male Byleth, whose value has gone down a bit because there are just a lot of other ways of getting null follow-up. So his drive null follow-up has lost a bit of its value because we can just outsource null follow-up a lot easily now. But still, he can function as a good nuke with his Sublime Heaven. So he does stay in tier 2. And then I also have Legendary Azura, who's just a fantastic dancer. She's not exactly of the level of Legendary Ninian, but still at the end of the day, she's a flying dancer, which means that she's got access to Guidance 4, which is absolutely amazing for the support. And she also has Firestorm Dance 3 in the slot B, which she can run. So all those things does make her a pretty amazing unit, even though she doesn't really score as high as the other water dancer in Ninian. Still, I would say that Azura has aged really well, especially with Guidance 4, which is now available. In tier 3, I have got Legendary Dimitri, so you can do some incredible stuff with Dimitri and the inheritance that you can give to him. But still, he's starting to show a bit of his age, but still he's going to be getting a remix and refine in the future. So he's going to be getting better, and he's still, really good with all of the stuff that we have got going with Vital Astra, Time Pulse 4, Attack Speed Finish 4, Distant Attack Speed Solo. All of those skills are just really good. I also have Legendary Sita here, who I do think has got a bit better, especially for Summoner Duel's usage because of Guard Bearing 4 and the fact that we've got Guidance. So being a Lance Flyer with effective damage against Cavaliers does make it pretty easy for her to be a good frontliner right there, and she can still function with the instant advantage that she can get with her slot B skill against many of the cavalry threats. So still a pretty nice unit, but not exactly the most top tier unit. And then we've got Legendary Leaf, who's still pretty good, even though his remix and refine was not the most insane. So these water legendary units do have solid niches, and even though they are not top tiers, they are still useful. And then we move on to the water legendary units in the bottom tier. So we have got Ryoma here. So Ryoma has got a new tool in Guidance 4, so at least he can provide that support now, which is something which is useful in my opinion. And then we've got Legendary Erika with her cavalry mobility. Unfortunately, doesn't have the best matchup against a lot of the water legendary units, but still, she does have that mobility at the very least. And then in the final tier, I would put Fiorm, where she can kill some of the threats with her distant counter weapon, but still leaves more to be desired with her stat spread. And she is not the fastest unit, so even though you can run stuff like Close Call 4 on her, it is still not going to be, as good as some of the modern units, obviously. So let me know what you think about my water legendary tier list in the comment section down below. And overall, this banner is going to be providing you with some amazing value on the colorless pool with Guinevere, with Asker and Fomortis, and in the red pool with the Lear, with Legendary Veronica and Legendary Yuri. So 2 wind legendary units right there, which is absolutely amazing. Green has Haether and it also has Legendary Xander, but Hell definitely brings down the value quite a lot because she's not really as good really, and she is kind of due for a remix and refine. And then we move on to the blue pool, which is definitely pretty lackluster because of Jeffrey really bringing down the value of the blue pool. And then we've got Wooler and Chloe being the best unit in my opinion out of the blue pool. And she's just really good with that flat damage reduction that she can get based on her resistance. Kind of like Guinevere, but she's a really good lance flyer. Next month, we're going to be having a new summer banner, so a lot of people have been looking forward to it. Maybe it has got engage units, but it's kind of coping at this point. And then Legendary Chrome and Bramimond are going to be getting their remix banners as well, so if you're trying to plus and merge them, it could be a good opportunity. And we could also get another rearmed unit with the new heroes banner that we are going to be getting next month. And then finally, we could even get a new dark mythic unit. So it is going to be a mythic month next month, and I do think that we could get a blue dark mythic unit because dark is kind of overdue as we haven't really got a mythic unit in that. And blue pool is probably the most tagged here with Nerthus as a new mythic unit, and also probably rearmed Ingrid. So it is going to be having good value, and even the red color is going to be having good value with Lucia and Legendary Secret and Legendary Lilina, and colorless also being really strong. So I do think that we're probably going to be getting a blue dark mythic unit. So come back to this video next month to see if I was right or wrong, but this is definitely something you could try and expect for next month's mythic hero banner. So hope this can help you decide if you want to summon or not, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps you tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as mages against Guinevere. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.